you knew this day was coming because Brady was 42. Belichick's close to 70. Bob Kraft is, I'm feeling like we're the Steelers around 1980 or 81, and all of a sudden everybody got old.
Yeah, I like that.
Which, by the way, I'm reading a killer book right now.
Yeah.
Called their Life's Work, The Brotherhood of the 1970s Pittsburgh Steelers, Then and Now. That's what makes it great. And then also a lot of the great games they're talking about you can watch on YouTube. Like last night I watched the Raiders versus the Steelers, 1974 AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And this is before the Steelers won their first ring. And the week before, the Raiders had beaten the Dolphins, who had just gone back-to-back. And John Madden, very rare mistake, evidently said the two best teams played last week. And I guess Chuck Noll was never a guy big on emotions. He was just an X and O's guy. It pissed him off so much he was in the meeting, and all the players were sitting in those student desks where the desk part is attached to the chair. They were all sitting in those, and he goes, John Madden said the best two teams played last week. Well, I think he's wrong because the best team, in my opinion, is sitting right in this room. And Joe Green was so excited he stood up and fist pumped and took the whole desk with him. And the second I read that, I was like, I got to see if this game is online. And I put it on, and it's incredible. It's the Raiders. They're 2 years away from that 76 team that actually beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you talk to anybody in Pittsburgh that knows their football, like Joe Bartnick was telling me, that was the best Steeler team. It's just Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris both got hurt late in the season, and it was just like out of dumb luck. But they actually, if those guys were both healthy, according to Pittsburgh fans, they would have three-peated, which has never been done. They would have three-peated easily.
You said how much?
Pittsburgh in that game, Bill, scored 21 in the fourth quarter to win. Franco Harris and Rocky Bleier combined for over 200 yards rushing in that game.
Yeah, and they had been shutting down. That Raiders defense had really been shutting down the run, so it was a big surprise that they ran all those. They shut down Zonka and Jim Kick probably. That's probably who was playing for Miami the week before.
Love it.
I love that stuff, man. I have a whole football card collection, just all the 70s. From 1970 right through 79. I got all the and what else was great is Kurt Gowdy and Dandy Don Meredith do the play-by-play and the color. And when you just look at how much the game has changed, like, first of all, the game, it's like in the afternoon. It's like 1 in the afternoon, right?
Right.
And it just starts when it comes to broadcast, like they're lining up for the kickoff. And they just kick it off, no pomp, no circumstance. And when they cut to the crowd, that's the best. You can't find one jersey. Nobody's wearing a jersey. Everybody's wearing street clothes. Half the people look like they could be in that Ron Burgundy Anchorman movie. Just the way people dress, smoking in the crowd. And it's really like, it was so just sports fans. And Kurt Gowdy brings something up that I started to watch. I went down this rabbit hole. It's called NFL 74, the Championship Chase.
What is that, Bill Burr? What is that?
That's the highlight of the whole 1974 season. And there was there's a great Patriot that was forgot in history. Undersized kid named Mac Herron. He's known as Mini Mac. He was 5'5.5".
Yeah.
He had to go to the CFL. The Patriots signed him. He set a record for all-purpose yardage that stood for 30 years on kickoff, punt, receiving, and running yardage. He disappeared John Hanna used to laugh that he would disappear into the pile, and they couldn't find him, and he would shoot out. And but the problem was he partied a little too much. It messed up his career, and this is why he left the Patriots. He ended up having a big party at his house, and half the Patriots were there. So Chuck Fairbanks shipped him out because a lot of people don't remember. That year, the Patriots...
This is amazing.
I think it was 74. That year, the Patriots, in a 3-week period, beat the two-time defending Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins. Then they beat the Raiders, and then they beat the Steelers. 3 weeks in a row. But then we lost to Burt Jones and the Colts.
Burt Jones.
So the Patriots and the Colts were sort of this up-and-coming thing, but everybody knew it was Dolphins, Raiders, or Steelers. And but anyways, Mac Herron... People should, and I'm surprised I couldn't remember that, but Mac Herron should have been brought up when Isaiah Thomas with the Celtics, had that 2-year run where he was this undersized guy that the whole city fell in love with. That was sort of the second coming of Mac Herron.
Mac Herron, I guess it was, you could say, as Danny Woodhead before Danny Woodhead was even born, I guess, back in the day. This is a great conversation here with Bill Burr. We were talking before, too, Bill, Chris Brockman and I, about, some of the old classic games that we're beginning to see a little bit more on cable and broadcast television, about how, you're watching those games. There's no yellow line to let you know where the first down is. There's no blue line to let you know where the line of scrimmage is. There's no score box. You don't know how much time's left on the clock. And we're so totally coddled as viewers of TV now, and
also just like how much the NFL was just catering to football fans back there, and now they do it's like they're just commercial fishing, just throwing out let's have Shakira and J-Lo. Some of the Super Bowls, from the 70s, up on YouTube, and you watch them, and the halftime show is like a local college band.
Yeah,
just going out
with
and
people.
Playing. Yeah, that's it.
With people.
And they're just. And also, the game was played at Tulane University so many times, and the game was just on in the afternoon.
Yep, not anymore.
It wasn't the Super Bowl Sunday and all of that stuff. None of that existed. And the NHL, what I can't believe is how much slower the game was and how much smaller the players were, to the point they almost need to make the rinks bigger. If you look at all the open ice in the 80s, the heyday was the perfect combination. The 80s was the perfect combination of the enforcers and finesse players. You had some of the greatest like the Wayne Gretzky of enforcers, Bob Probert, and you literally had Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux and all Eiserman and all of these guys and putting up 60, 70, 80, 90 goals was incredible.
Yeah,
but then what killed it was Patrick Waugh came in and showed him the butterfly, and then that was it. That was it. And then they got big, and the pads got big. Dude, Paul Coffey scored 50 goals as a defenseman one year. I mean, it's just unheard of.
It's the greatest. Bill Burr in quarantine is one of the greatest sports historians I've ever met. I mean, let's be very honest. This is Bill Burr sheltered in place is one of the greatest sports history conversations I think I've ever had.
I can only talk 70s and 80s because in '92 I started stand up and I missed this chunk. It's
okay.
Almost like with music. No matter how much I try and listen to new music, I'm always going to end up going back to AC/DC and Aerosmith and stuff from my childhood. I don't know. There's a different feeling when you listen to that. And I feel the same thing. I think when I was a kid, I still had the hope that I was going to make it to professional sports. And then by the 90s, I knew the dream was over. And I was watching kids at that point I was older than, who made it happen, and I didn't.